Throughout the history of warfare, it's always been about the same things. More range, better accuracy, and of course, more power. But what do you do when you're limited by the strength of just one person? Well, let's dive into an amazing piece of ancient Greek engineering that found a really clever way to just shatter that limit. Right. Think about your standard bow. The power you get out of it is all about how strong the archer is, right? Their arms, their back. You can only pull back so much. So for ancient weapons designers, this was a huge roadblock. How do you get past that very human physical barrier to make a handheld weapon that's truly devastating? And this was their brilliant answer. The Gastraphetes. Just look at the way he's holding it. That's not an archer pulling a string back with his arms. No, he's using his entire body, pushing down. This was a total game changer in how you could turn human energy into projectile force. So how in the world did they unlock so much more power? Well, believe it or not, the secret is hidden right there in its name. The name comes from Koine Greek. You have gaster, which means belly, and phethetes, which is about releasing or shooting. So it's a belly releaser. I mean, the name tells you exactly what's so special about it. You're not powering it with your arms. You're powering it with your gut, your core. Okay, so this is the key difference. A regular hand bow is all about pulling. You're limited by your arm and shoulder muscles. The Gastraphetes, though, it's all about pushing. You brace the thing against the ground, press down with your stomach, and suddenly you're using your core, your legs, your entire body weight. This genius design meant you could use a way stiffer, way more powerful bow than any single person could ever hope to draw by hand. But how did this clever machine actually work? Well, the answer is almost as incredible as the weapon itself, because for the longest time, it was totally lost to history. Get this, we have found 0 archaeological examples of a Gastraphetes. Not one. The only reason we know about it is thanks to these incredibly detailed descriptions in diagrams written way back in the 1st century AD by a guy named Heron of Alexandria, and he was working from even older texts. So what you're looking at is basically an ancient engineering blueprint. And those ancient blueprints, they were so good, so detailed, that modern historians and engineers have actually been able to build fully working reconstructions. I mean, just pause and think about that for a second. We can bring a 2,400-year-old weapon back to life just based on words and drawings. How cool is that? So here's the play-by-play. You've got this super powerful composite bow on a stock. The soldier would stick the front end on the ground, hook the bowstring onto this slider thing, and then brace that curved end right against their stomach. Then you just push down. Use your whole body weight to force that slider back until it clicks into place. It's simple, it's powerful, and it was absolutely revolutionary. But the story of the Gastraphetes isn't just about engineering. It's also got this fantastic historical mystery baked into it. For the longest time, we thought we knew exactly when it was invented, but it turns out the real timeline is way more complex and, frankly, way more interesting. For decades, the story was simple. Everyone just sort of agreed that the Gastraphetes was invented in 399 BC. The story went that some engineers working for Dionysius I of Syracuse came up with it. It was a nice, neat little origin story. And it turned out to be totally wrong. And the clue that cracked the whole case came from Heron's text itself. He writes that the catapulticon, which was the first mechanical catapult from 399 BC, was inspired by the Gastraphetes. And that changes everything. Think about it. An inspiration has to come before the thing it inspires, so the Gastraphetes had to be older. And thanks to other ancient writers, we can now push that date back even further. We've got texts that talk about an engineer named Zopieros designing advanced, even stand-mounted versions of the Gastraphetes sometime before 421 BC, which means the original handheld version had to exist even earlier than that. So we've gone from this tidy story in 399 BC to a much older, much more mysterious origin. And this device wasn't just some historical curiosity. The Gastraphetes wasn't an evolutionary dead end. Oh no, it was the beginning of a technological revolution that would end up dominating siege warfare for hundreds of years. You can literally trace the family tree right here. That core idea, a bow on a stock with a trigger mechanism, was the direct ancestor of much larger artillery. So first you get the oxybolus, which is basically a giant Gastraphetes on a stand. And that design eventually led to the torsion-powered ballista, one of the most terrifying siege engines of the ancient world. And it all started with this one handheld gadget. And this core idea had some serious staying power. Just compare the Greek reconstruction on the left to this Gallo-Roman carving on the right, which was made hundreds of years later. See that? It's pretty much the exact same weapon, but it's being used for hunting. The idea that was born with the Gastraphetes never really went away. It just kept evolving. So, the story of the Gastraphetes, a weapon we literally only know about from reading ancient texts, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other revolutionary ideas, these incredible feats of engineering, are still just lost in time, hiding in some forgotten manuscript, just waiting for somebody to find them?